Okay, unexpected and for me, hopefully reasonably brief video edition. It's election season, things are hot and heavy, and as most people know, certainly on our side of the fence, there's a phalanx, an avalanche of deceit during election seasons. Mostly false accusations of racism, but every other type of thing too. Right now, they're trying to get the bigotry and racism in bigger than ever. Especially even not necessarily related to Donald Trump, certainly corralling him in to the premise, but also with this constant ABC, NBC, and CBS news stories about supposed white racism by cops against innocent blacks, and that's just bullshit. It isn't happening. They never ever report about black racism. Never, never, never nationwide. Once in my lifetime, and I'm fairly old, not one time ever. But we get this thing every day. They're even fairly tricky about it. Ah, shit. I don't want to go off on that right now. I will say that they won't even tell you when sometimes if an innocent black person was arrested or hit or hurt or killed, they don't even tell you. I think like in the Freddie Gray case, that the supervising cop was black on the scene, and so was another cop there black. So if they can actually intimate that there's white racism going on without even telling you that it's black cops attacking blacks. But one thing you for sure do not hear about is that white people are killed by cops too, a lot. Not as much because, you know what, white people just aren't as violent. They do not commit as many crimes. That's the sad story. Tough pill to swallow, but deal with it. At any rate, coming after Donald Trump, I just saw this, when was it, yesterday? I watched it today for the first time. I found it on YouTube, and a 9-minute clip of this Muslim woman kicked out of a Donald Trump rally, and it so plays into their theme, bigotry. And let's see, where have I got it here? So I went there, I searched it, find which one. I listened to one, and then I went, oh, that's what I did. I went to see if there were any rebuttals to it, because somebody's got to get out there and deal with these nutcases. First, you've got the useful idiots on the left, liberals, who are taught what to think, and then they're kind of like me in that they feel like going out and teaching and saving the planet, or, you know, not saving the planet, but doing your part, but they're brainwashed. They've been lied to. I used to be a brainwashed liberal. I know exactly how it's done and what it feels like. But they're the useful idiots, and Lenin is said to have coined the term useful idiots, and that means people that go out and volunteer to run around the country lying for you. But they may not necessarily be lying. That's where the idiot part come in. They may actually believe, but at the top, it's lies. And the lies come down from the professional liars at ABC News, NBC, NPR radio station there, and NBC, plus New York Times, Washington, all those shitheads. USA Today, Associated Press, Seattle Times, Chicago Tribune, PBS, and a bunch of them online too. Those are professional liars, and then they teach the useful idiots what to think. And then George Soros and others pay certain people to create channels to lie on a much lower level. I would call them amateur liars, or what's the word? Minor league liars, like on YouTube and stuff, where they have their own channel and they lie. Okay, anyway, back to this Muslim woman. It's they're flying around all over the place, mostly the useful idiots, trying to make the case of how horrible Donald Trump is, again, on a different topic. And so they got this case where a Muslim woman was kicked out of one of his rallies a couple days ago. This is Tuesday, January 12th. There's going to be another debate at the Fox Business Channel in 2 days, on the 14th. And there's been, what, 3 or 4 debates already? So they've got this woman, and they don't really tell you. They lead so that you can figure it out. well, no, okay, let me get that right. They do call it she's there as a silent protest. But you've got to fill in a lot of gaps that the CNN guy, Don Lemon, and the CNN reporter who was on the scene leave out. You always need to do that with CNN, because they're one of the professional liars too. So it's really instructive, actually. You can have a blast just taking, in this case, a 9-minute clip from CNN and deconstructing it to isolate out how much vital information to news is omitted during a 9 or 8-minute report, and also how many, in some cases, outright lies are said. So the way the brainwashing works is some of it's outright lies, but not a lot of that, because it'd be too easy to catch them. Most of it is omission and overplaying of just one side of the story, leaving out the other side. Leaving out the other side, of course, would be omission. But so I'm filling in. I'm making up for the omission, and I'm going to find a couple of outright lies here too, because I just watched this clip a couple of times, and it's a good one. It's fun. But the reason why I'm really motivated about it, I mean, you can find lies by these folks all day, all year long. But I'm standing up for the only real man who has had any power, because there have been a couple of real men stand up in my lifetime, Pat Buchanan being one of them, and try to take the country back. But they were not so self-financed that they could afford to continue after the hatchet jobs by the professional liars on them. Because it's not just the money, but if let's say you're a CEO somewhere, Nabisco or somewhere, or NASCAR, even though NASCAR's turned liberal, and but I'm just fetching for an example here. Let's say you're a CEO somewhere or a top executive. If they find out you're giving money to one of the people subject to a hatchet job, in other words, the elite, the atheist oligarchy, is determined to not let you threaten their power, then they will go after, if needed, if they can't take you out and turn your people against you, then they will go after the people that have dared to contribute money to you. So you can't make it unless you're wealthy, and that's why there's this weird confluence of events this time. You've got somebody who's liberal in a couple ways, but highly protective of the country, and conservative in a couple other ways, who just happens to be a billionaire too. And we've never seen this before. So they're working their asses off trying to take him out and take him down and ruin his reputation. They've already destroyed it. If Donald Trump goes back to normal civilian life after this, he's never going to get another job with NBC, The Apprentice. He's never going to get a lot of the contracts he had. Macy's already canceled him, and Univision dumped him, and somebody else did. So a lot of his future is ruined, and that's what they do to conservatives. They ruin your future if it's necessary. They'll try to take you out easy if they can. They'll try to ignore you at first. Then they'll try to take you out easy, and if it's required, they'll threaten your contributors and destroy your future. And that's what they've done to Donald Trump, more than anybody I've ever seen, because everybody else, Michelle Bachmann, Rick Santorum, Pat Buchanan, and a few others that I can't think of right now, they fall after the first media attack. And when I call a media attack, I mean there's an hourly update on radio. ABC and CBS have hourly updates on radio, and that's 24 times a day. And when they're going after you, like they did after Trump, over about 5 things now, you know, the immigration, the John McCain, the Megyn Kelly, and others, when they're going after you, they will hit you for 3, 5 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row, and 24 times a day on the radio, every night on the ABC Nightly News, CBS Evening News, and those. I've never seen anybody survive one of them before. I mean, like, usually they can take you out. Buchanan lasted like 3 days, if I recall back properly, back to 1992. They've been after Trump, and he didn't fall after one. He didn't fall after number 2 attack. He didn't fall after the 3rd invasion of his character. He didn't fall after the 4th or the 5th, and he's still standing. So they're still trying things. They're not quite going all-out assaults as they were before, because he's been embarrassing them, embarrassing the people at ABC News, NBC, and CBS, because he just outright, which is ballsy, he just outright calls them dishonest. He says, you know, we have 80% of the reporters in the country are dishonest. Yeah, it's true. And if you go to the mainstream media, the big outlets that have combined 50 million viewers, ABC, NBC, NBR, and CBS, 50 million viewers right there between them. 30 million for the 3 TV stations, 20 million for NPR. Right there, 50 million. They all walk in as a family. Everything they say is identical. So those, I haven't been listening to NPR that much, but the 3 on TV, ABC, NBC, and CBS, they have definitely calmed down a little because he's embarrassing them. But they're still trying every little backdoor they can get and side entrance and stuff. And so anyway, a couple of days ago at a rally, this Muslim woman went in there as what they called a silent protest. And then she's deluded about so many things that it's worth it to talk about right now. So here we go. First, let me show you here. I'm going to put this on the screen. Right now I'm just looking at my laptop. But let's look at, here's where I looked to see if there were any rebuttals. I did find one in this batch that I haven't listened to yet. But let's look at how many people, how many of the useful idiots dashed to upload this. Because they're all trying, the silly brainwashed liberals sitting at the feet of Marxist professors for 12 to 16 years are now out trying to do their part to help people get the truth, which is a lie, but they think it's the truth. And it's so weird being a brainwashed liberal and trying to teach people the truth and then getting angry when they won't listen or they hand you facts that you didn't understand and then you don't know what to do with the facts. So in a lot of cases we see these days that they just start calling you names. Okay, rolling. Here they go. So here's a Muslim woman abused by crowd, by Hooper, kicked out, speaks out, you get news, where else are we? Got that one. Booted from Trump rally by the Young Turks. That's Cenk, Young Uyghur or whatever his name is. He's somewhere in between. He's either a useful idiot or a professional liar. I haven't figured it out, but I think a professional liar. Here's one, evicted from Donald Trump rally, and Hawkeye's got wearing a hijab, gets kicked out for being Muslim, all capital letters for being Muslim there. See if I can mark that. Oh, I can't mark it. Oh God, wait a minute, get off there. Okay, because I'm in Paint now, and it doesn't work that easy. I don't understand Paint all that well, but I'm not on a web page, so otherwise I could have highlighted it. Muslim woman gets kicked out for being. Oh, she's kicked out for being, says Sean. And let's see, what do we got? We got another one. Kicked out, speaks to CNN. Her name is Rose. Care asked Donald to apologize. Anyway, let me just go down to this page fast. Look at all of these, and there's some more on page 2. So you've got all of these things of these people rushing to get in there and tell their side of the story of what a bigot Donald Trump is. Let's try it again. Roll down one more time. Boom, 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 boom. Look at them. Look at all those. Out of that whole group, only one of them is trying to present the other side. So let's get to the real story of what happened. So we go to CNN, Bob Lemon, and here it goes. He's just about to talk to this reporter on the right, and the reporter's going to describe what happened. But listen to their words carefully about how they inject adjectives and the whole tone of what went on. Here we go.
And he has a story. So, Jeff, a shocking moment tonight at Donald Trump's rally. What happened?
Okay, shocking moment. Here's one key word. Now, you're not going to find this. I should stop right there because you're not going to find this. If you watch a few Donald Trump rallies, you'll find out that there are liberal lunatics disrupting his rally like every, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes on average and getting kicked out. So there's nothing shocking about this woman getting kicked out of a Donald Trump rally, and there's nothing shocking about getting kicked out of a Hillary Clinton rally either, by the way, if you go there and disrupt it. But especially at Donald Trump, because they're just like, they're flying in like buzzards, these Marxist trained teenagers and in their 20s, and I don't know how many of them are getting paid. Nobody's done enough of an investigation yet. But okay, so shocking moment.
Well, Don, it sure was. I mean, we see
So he agrees. It sure was.
Protesters at Donald Trump rallies all over the country.
See, there we go. He agrees with me there. We've seen protesters at Trump rallies all over the country.
Everywhere he goes. But we haven't seen many moments exactly like this.
We have not. That's true. I've seen a lot of rallies, and I haven't seen one quite exactly like this yet. But now that it's happened, I'm surprised we haven't, actually. Okay.
And just to set the scene for you, about 30 minutes into the rally or so, there was a bit of a commotion happening behind the speaker, behind Mr. Trump. He kept speaking a little bit, but there was a silent protest.
Okay, now, here's something they're not going to tell you. Here's something this reporter's not going to say. There's a silent protest, but this woman's standing up with her husband. So while silent protesting, she's actually blocking the view of people behind her, okay? And it also, is it unreasonable? I mean, is it absolutely, completely, ridiculously unreasonable to wonder if somebody would drop a bomb, a suicide bomb at a Trump rally, or really at anywhere these days? Okay, so people start wondering, right? There's a Muslim woman with her, what do you call that thing? A hijab. She's standing up. There's a guy standing up next to her. She's got a lot of weight around her waist. So who knows? You know, either she's overweight or anything could be in there. I'm not suggesting that's happening, but aren't you just really kind of a dumb shit if you don't ponder the possibility? Okay, move on. So, but obviously this reporter's not pondering that possibility. No matter what, she's blocking people's view. Am I talking loud enough? Okay, let's get this a little louder so I can match the volume with me.
Rose Hamid, a 56-year-old flight attendant from Charlotte.
Flight attendant. Somebody made this woman a flight attendant. Boy, things have changed since when I was a kid. When was I a kid? In the 60s. I mean, flight attendants were something different. Okay, moving on.
Was standing silently.
Silently, he's like praising her, silently. She's not doing anything wrong, other than blocking everybody's view and, you know, maybe the whole risk factor.
And the people around her were watching to see exactly what was happening, as you can see from this video here, and suddenly
watching to see what was going to happen. Okay, yeah, they were being polite.
Police officer escorted her out, but
a police officer escorted her out. But here comes the but. Did you hear the but?
I was most shocked by.
He's shocked again.
And she was making a statement. She came to this rally to show Trump supporters what a Muslim actually looked like. And
no. See, now he's speaking for her and saying she came to show Trump supporters what a Muslim actually looks like. That's a lie. Right there, because first of all, you're going to find out in a minute, this woman doesn't even know what a Muslim looks like. She doesn't even know her own religion, and we'll get into that in a minute. But the fact that she does not know her own religion means she has no way to demonstrate what a Muslim, he's saying, looks like. So let's go a little further.
She was just like them, and she said, you know,
just like the Trump supporters. Muslims right now are just like patriotic Americans, some of them Christians. No, they're not. No Muslim is. Some of them, listen, I'm a Christian, and I know that there's a lot of people in the Christian religion do not understand their own religion. And I also know, because a fair amount of us have been studying it for the last few years, there's a whole bunch of Muslims that don't know their religion either. Let's go a little, okay, well, let me go a teeny bit into that right now. The Quran does call for killing Christians and Jews. No two ways about it. Yes, you can find peaceful verses in the Quran, but what you need to understand, and it takes some study, is those peaceful verses are not directed toward Christians and Jews. They're directed toward other Muslims after you've already conquered the Christians and the Jews. Got that? Okay? And also, anytime it talks about being friendly in the Quran, there's a principle of abrogation, and that means things go in chronological order. So anything said, if something else is said that contradicts it later, then the principle of abrogation is contradicted later. Then the principle of abrogation means the later verse supersedes the first one. That's important to know, because the violent verses in the Quran are all later, to contrast against the few peaceful verses. Opposite of the Bible, by the way, when the New Testament and the New Covenant came along with Jesus.
A proud American as well, but when
she's a proud American as well. Okay, you gotta take into account that there have been surveys done in Pakistan and in the United States where they poll Muslims to ask them how they feel about Sharia law, which Sharia law is completely antithetical to the Constitution. The Sharia law means there is a religious government and everybody has to obey it. So religion, government equals one. The two are together, and a lot of the Muslims in this country, even the ones that don't know their religion well, when polled say that they would vote for Sharia law. In other words, they would vote against the Constitution.
escorted out and walked up the steps, what I was struck by was how this crowd treated her.
Oh, this is important. What he's struck by is how the crowd treated her. Now, wait, you're going to get this. Now, I watched it for the first time about 3 hours ago, and I'm going, oh my gosh, did our people embarrass themselves? Wait till this comes up.
You can see it from the video there.
You can see nothing from the video there.
Someone sort of did a hands down thing to her. Other people.
A hands down thing. Wait, he's struck by somebody did what? A hands down? I mean, we do that at football games. We do that at debates. We do that at rallies. We do that everywhere. He's struck by it? I mean, he has to be just lying, because you can't be that stupid to actually sincerely be standing there or sitting, whatever he's doing, and saying that he's struck by a hands down.
Were screaming, and all the way across.
Screaming. Now, you'll never hear screaming here anywhere, and you will not even hear this Muslim woman claim that there was screaming.
Across the hall where I was standing, some people were saying some very not nice things that I won't repeat.
Very not nice things that he won't repeat. Now, wouldn't it be great if this reporter would repeat it? Because if he won't repeat them, and we don't get to hear those not nice things, then we have no clue whether they really were not nice or whether this fellow's just a liar. But, fortunately, the Muslim woman is going to say what was said to her.
Repeat her down. So that's what I was struck by, how the crowd reacts when something like this happens. Of course, this has all been inflamed by the rhetoric that has been going on for the last couple months or so on the campaign trail.
Yeah, and as you were speaking there, we just saw the video of the guy giving her the thumbs down, and then it...
Ooh, we just saw the video of the guy giving her the thumbs down. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if that guy and other people give thumbs down to anybody kicked out of these rallies, because they're sick of Donald Trump having to get quiet for 2 or 3 minutes while these little teenage Marxist wannabe lunatics try to disrupt free speech, but especially try to disrupt freedom.
At the end, his wife sort of pulls him away, but
his wife pulls him away. Okay, thumbs down. That's what we're talking about here. His wife pulled him away from doing a thumbs down.
There were a lot of people booing her as well.
Booing. You know, you see how this is how tricky. This is why you got to understand the code of the professional liars in the atheist elite media. Let me go back to that one part just a second.
Or so on the campaign trail.
Yeah, and as you were speaking there, we just saw the video of the guy giving her the thumbs down, and then at the end, his wife sort of pulls him away, but there were a lot of people booing her as well. Was Donald Trump aware?
Okay, a lot of people booing her as well. Where was I with that? We're sick of it. I mean, Donald Trump is exceedingly magnanimous about it, but who isn't sick of hearing these little creeps yet? And it's unfortunate for them, too. I mean, when you think about it, how pathetic is it to be... Okay, battery change there. Back to this. In fact, in case I'm on the screen, let me move this thing out of the way. How about right there? All right, here we go.
Was Donald Trump aware of what was going on?
I do not believe that he was aware of exactly what was going on. But
was
of course,
Trump aware?
All of this was sort of started with other people who were also being escorted out. It was kind of a series of protests. So he sort of stopped speaking for a while. But I do not believe that he actually knew specifically who was let out. And Rose was sitting sort of directly behind him. So I do not believe that he saw exactly what was happening. And we actually asked his aides for a reaction, why she was thrown out, and they have not yet returned our request for comment.
Jeff Zelmy reporting tonight. Jeff, thank you very much. I want to bring in now Rose Hamid. She is... Okay,
he's going to bring in Rose Hamid. First he had a liberal and deceitful reporter, and now he brings in the woman. He's not going to bring anybody from the crowd who they have accused of all sorts of things. None of them get invited onto CNN to make the case. But here comes Rose. Rose? Is that her name? Rose Hamid? Don Lemon, the anchor here.
The Muslim woman who was at that rally and who was kicked out and got some guff from the crowd.
Got some guff from the crowd. Thumbs down. Got some guff. And one of them said, did I already mention this? Yeah, I did. That do you have a bomb? He might have even been laughing when he said it. It might have been somebody friendlier than me, because I would not have asked it in a friendly way. I might have just looked carefully, but I definitely would have thought about it. Possibly moved a few rows away.
So, Rose, what happened?
What happened?
I'm not sure. I think my purpose for going there is, as was mentioned, was that I have this sincere belief that if people get to know each other one-on-one, that they'll stop being afraid of each other.
Okay. We don't have to get to know Muslims one-on-one. We can look at polling and the killing all through everywhere across the planet. Indonesia, Africa, in this country now, in Paris, the rapes that just occurred. Where were that? Were those in Sweden on New Year's Eve? There were 100 women reporting being raped or molested on New Year's Eve, and that the press actually and the police department there are hushing it up, covering up worldwide, globally. The media is in on this, hushing up the violence of Muslims and the atrocious behavior around women and their own children, even to some cases, if they don't obey properly. You don't need to get to know a Muslim individually to realize just how much crap is going on, especially taking into account the fact that that the media is hushing up a lot of it, covering up a lot of it. So just what you can see is enough that you don't need to go out and meet a ton of... Where is that sun coming from? Right there? Is that the glare over there? You gotta go. Is that it? All right. Time out. That's better. Okay. All right. So, getting to know Muslims, I know enough to when realizing that they'll vote for Sharia law. So, fine. Let them be. If they want to be peaceful people and not understand the commands from Muhammad, from their religion, to kill Christians and Jews and others, infidels, anybody who doesn't adopt the faith. If you don't understand your religion, but you want to go somewhere and live peaceful, that's fine. I can get to know a Muslim that way and be happy that that person lives in a country. But the Muslims are invading other countries all across the planet and killing people. Let's take the peaceful ones. Let's say, but the violent ones will actually go kill the peaceful Muslims too. But let's just say that there were peaceful ones. Either way, the peaceful ones will vote for Sharia law. So it's antithetical to the Constitution of the United States. There is no sane person would even allow the Muslim faith into a country of free people. I'm sorry, I know that sounds drastic, but it's their choices. Their choice to vote for Sharia law, which does not coincide at all with the Constitution, it means it's a complete non-starter. It does not fit. Anybody, if you were allowed to say it in public, would realize that. It's just, you don't even have to say one side's better. You could just say that they're not a match. There's no way that they're a match. All right, back to this woman.
And we'll be able to
Rose
get rid
Hamid.
of all this hate in the world.
Oh, did you hear that? All this hate in the world. She's accusing people of hate. And we haven't heard about any hate yet, have we?
I have this sincere belief that if people get to know each other one-on-one, that they'll stop being afraid of each other. And we'll be able to get rid of all this hate in the world. Literally.
Hate in the world. Okay, so maybe she's talking about, you know, more than just the people at the Trump rally. I'll give her benefit of the doubt on that one.
Really? So that was really my goal, was to let people see that Muslims are not that scary.
But it does sound like she's trying to make a point right there at the Trump rally, right? Not anywhere else. She could be out in front of Walmart telling people how friendly Muslims are. No, she's at a Trump rally.
The people around me were lovely.
The people around me were lovely. Wait a minute. Don Lemon was shocked. So was the reporter, shocked. Bob, whatever his name is, Zelny.
There was people who were very nice. They were sharing their popcorn. It was
very nice and sharing their popcorn. Why is this woman even being interviewed?
It was very nice people all around me, the people I had conversations with.
This is amazing. This is a complete non-story. That's what's going on. They're taking a non-story and building it up to turn liberal airheads against Donald Trump, and to get more people to vote for the thieving neo-communist, God-mocking liars in the Democratic Party to further destroy this country, along with the liberal phonies in the Republican Party who pretend to be conservative but go along with the neo-communist liars in the Democratic Party. Vote for them, you know, so let's do anything we can to stop somebody from winning.
But then what happened when the crowd got this, like, hateful crowd mentality?
Okay, now she's accusing the crowd of being hateful, part of a hateful crowd. mentality. Hateful. Now let's get some examples. We need examples of hatred, right? Don't we? I mean, we can't just take this woman's word for it, or really anybody's word for it.
Mentality. As I was being escorted, it was really quite telling of and a vivid example of what happens when you start using this hateful rhetoric and how it...
Okay, that's 2 times hateful out of her mouth, right? Rhetoric. What rhetoric? Let's find out.
It can incite a crowd where moments ago were very...
Incite a crowd where moments ago they were very kind. Okay, let's find out what the crowd said.
Kind to me. Actually, one woman reached over and shook my hand and said, "I'm so sorry this is happening to you."
I'm sorry this is happening. Now maybe they're sorry, the woman's sorry. There's a lot of airheads on our side of the coin too. So I don't want to just say that this woman who said she's sorry is automatically even right, that she knows what she should or should not be sorry about. Is she sorry because this woman was standing up blocking everybody's view and possibly, you know, who knows what she's got on her, and that they've, as a disruptor, another disruptor, even on this very night, as the reporter said, asked her to leave? She's sorry that this disruptor is being asked to leave? Why? Because I haven't heard anything yet that should be apologized for.
Yeah. So you said that you wanted to show people at the rally that, you know, Muslims are just like you, but...
Muslims are just like you, meaning you, third person, you and me.
Some people would say, why would you even go and put yourself in that position?
Why would you
to be around those people?
Those people?
Because I don't want to think of them as those people. I think that's what the problem is that we look at people and we categorize them as those people who are bad people and these people are the good people. And I believe that people in all camps are decent people when you get to know them, as was evident by the people who were around me, who were very lovely people. But it's when you get that hateful rhetoric going is what...
Okay, that's hateful number 3 from Rose Hamid.
What incites people. I never felt truly threatened.
Never felt truly threatened. Standing up, getting in people's way, and disrupting the whole sentiment, the ambiance, and deliberately trying to... She's there to be a protest. But she never felt truly threatened, and she was surrounded by lovely people, some of whom, at least one of whom, shared popcorn.
I was not afraid of these people because I think...
Not afraid.
I truly believe that the decent people would have stood up and not permitted that.
And maybe there were no not decent people there at all, Rose. Let's find out. Let's get more specifics from you. We've heard you say hateful 3 times.
That's my belief. I believe
so
that
what
most
were they
people
saying
in the
to
world
you?
are decent.
So because according to some of the reporting, they said
what
they
were
were
they saying?
bullied.
We're finally getting to it. Well, thank you, Dawn, for asking, which is a bit of a surprise right there. What were they saying?
You and shouting you to get out, and did one person really say, "You have a bomb, you have a bomb"?
Yeah, the one guy was saying, "Get out, do you have a bomb, do you have a bomb?" And I said, "No."
You know, that just absolutely sounds like kidding to me. You have a bomb. But even if not kidding, from what we've all been through, really, in the last 20 years, mostly Israel, but certainly what we've been through in this country since 2001, including a lot of hushed-up cases of terrorism that the press wouldn't report, and now that Obama will not report, including, I heard yesterday, 113 terrorist suspects pulled out of the refugees from Syria that's been completely unreported. Well, I heard it because I listen to conservative media, but it's not reported to the liberal airheads. They don't get it from the professional liars in the atheist media.
No, do you have a bomb? So no, they...
See, it's ridiculous of her to say that. It's a reasonable question to ask a Muslim woman standing up, disrupting a speech, thousands of people there, one of them just standing up with a guy next to her. It's reasonable to ask her. It is not reasonable of her to ask it in reverse. Or what? Am I just out of bounds here? Am I just like losing it? I have no clue what to have this partiality. First the battery dies, then the card is full. So, got another card, thankfully. All right, let me back up a little bit, see where I was.
To really say you have a bomb, you have a bomb.
Oh yeah, bomb.
Yeah, the one guy was saying, "Get out, do you have a bomb, do you have a bomb?" And I said, "No, do you have a bomb?" So no, they were saying ugly things.
Ugly things. Wait, okay, so we just discussed the bomb idea. I do not, if it was kidding, then that's fun, and it's sort of a cute thing. If it was serious, I wouldn't call it ugly. I would call it a reasonable question. I mean, there wasn't anything ugly about it. The woman does not even know her own religion. Thus, she does not know the threat from her religion. If she knew her own religion, she would know that they're not a religion of peace.
They were saying ugly things. One guy was saying, God is great. And I'm like,
okay, wait a minute. God is great. Oh, that's ugly? Is that ugly too? Somebody said God is... She's using this as an example of terrible things that were said. Let's back it up a little bit and see how she proceeds this.
Get out! Do you have a bomb? Do you have a bomb? And I said, no. Do you have a bomb? So no, they were saying ugly things. One guy was saying, God is great.
Okay, so it's actually the ugly things, it goes both ways. It can either be for the preceding one, but she says it preceding the God is great. It's an ugly thing. God is great. How does she know they weren't in agreement? That they weren't in agreement with her and her silly religion?
And I'm like, yeah, God is great. And one guy said, Isa loves you, which is the Arabic word for Jesus. And I said, yeah, I know.
Jesus loves you. Ugly things here. Why is she even bringing these up? I don't get this woman. Protesting at a rally, standing up, blocking people's view. In the best case scenario, standing up, blocking people's view. In the worst case, perhaps a plant by the somebody in a Soros Foundation or another one, or Union, or the Democratic Party, Hillary Sanders, who knows who, a plant trying to set up this interview later to turn more airheads against the one man this year. Well, there's about 3 men that are actually reasonably trying to save the country, Cruz and Carson also, but neither Cruz or Carson know how to fight. I mean, Marco Rubio and Carly Fiorina fight better than both of those two, but we don't want Rubio or Fiorina in the presidency. Either would be better than Hillary, but there's only 3 that are real people standing up that should be in the presidency this year, and only one of them knows how to fight. And it would not surprise me at all if this woman was, this whole thing was designed. I mean, she's standing up, right? Sort of sticking out a little, possibly hoping to get kicked out, create a scene, or have somebody get captured saying truly ugly things. Not what this lady's saying, really ugly things.
I know, and Jesus loves you too. So it's,
watch.
The thing is that people...
It's gonna get better.
Don't even know what they're saying. They don't even, they're just get riled up in the hate mongering. And
wait a minute, how many is that hate now? Is that 5? 5, we had ugly, and 5 hates from this woman.
They don't even know what they're saying. So I
haven't even heard anything that even qualifies for the word hate yet, or even ugly, or even really terrible. I just have not heard one thing yet.
I basically feel sorry for them.
She feels sorry for them. Isn't that nice? She's condescending to them, because this woman is there to disrupt the whole rally, and she feels sorry for them, who never said anything by her descriptions. I would consider it, pardon me, I would consider it hateful, an act of hatred, to accuse innocent people of acting hateful. You understand what I'm saying? I saw no hate at that rally. I've heard none from Donald Trump, but I've heard a lot of people, liberals. I went to one rally of his in California on the USS, was it the Iowa? I think it was the USS Iowa. And there were protesters out there, and I talked to a few of them. How does that get so far out? One of them was holding up a sign accusing Trump of being hateful. So this word hate is being tossed around by the liberals quite a bit. And my assessment is that it's an act of hatred to accuse an innocent person of being hateful. And so there's only hatred on one side right now, and it's the one doing the accusing, the false accusing of hatred. Weird.
Mm-hmm. They don't know what they're missing.
They don't know what they're missing, because she is so nice.
So we hear, Donald Trump, he's told me, said in other interviews that he has a lot of Muslim friends. Do you believe that?
Let's go up to 440. No, 540. Skipping forward.
But, I don't know if he really knows what Muslims stand for, and I don't...
The irony of that statement, I've already said it enough, is that this woman does not understand what Muslims stand for herself.
I don't even think he believes in the rhetoric that he's spewing. I think he's just saying stuff to get
He? See, we're getting no examples of he here. We're not getting any examples at all of the rhetoric spewing. So listen to the words she's using against Donald Trump. We get zero examples, but it's rhetoric and he's spewing it. All he said is a freeze on Muslim immigration until Congress can figure out what the hell is going on. You know, that's actually tame compared to Franklin Delano Roosevelt and World War II. Really tame. It's not rhetoric. It's good, smart defense of one's country, I would say. There you go. Back out just a little bit. Let's see where this woman's going now.
Attention and to get his numbers up. I think.
Well,
So he's doing it for a fact, just to get his numbers up. The word Nazi is coming up. Let's see. I'm going to have to skip forward to it.
I'm the first person to say that because Donald Trump
Supposed to be reminiscent, that whole concept of categorizing Muslims or putting Muslims in in a database and having them have special identification cards. It's very reminiscent of the Nazi mentality.
Here we go. There it is. Donald Trump's a Nazi. There's nothing Nazi-esque about trying to protect your country from people who have. I don't even have to say the words. Muslims have said it themselves in the Far East, some of them in this country, that they want to take over America. They want to take over Europe. They intend to take over. They have a plan and they're enacting it. And a lot of it is through the birth rate. Actually, through massive immigration, which Barack Obama is allowing, and through the birth rate to take over Europe and take over America through that. You don't have to say a thing. You look at the math. Take out a calculator, listen to their own words, put the two together, and that's not Nazi-esque. Rose or Dawn or any of you lying liberals, that's just being observant. There's nothing Nazi about it. You're an airhead. You're an idiot if you don't defend your country when people have declared war against you. Declared war and begun actively fighting in that war. What sort of asshole isn't going to stand up and protect his borders and his children and his villages? And that's what the media is trying to do. And I think the media is evil, actually. The ABC, NBC, and CBS, and the few others I mention all the time, I don't think that they're just liberal. I think that these folks are evil for this and for what they've been doing to the black community, for their mislabeling of the white community, for their hushing up black racism, for hushing up the racist history of the Democratic Party, for allowing the welfare thing and the invasion from Mexico and many other things, and improperly smearing decent people. I think they're evil. And plus they believe in the craziness of evolution, which is scientifically absurd. I've been studying evolution a lot in the last couple of years, and it isn't evolution is not simply bad science. First of all, it's not real. But then let's go another step down on the escalator, and it's not even bad science. Evolution is an outright hoax. It's a joke of a science if you try to make a theory out of it. It's like global warming. It's like so many other things. It's like the myth that women don't earn as much as men, and it's like the myth that McCarthyism is a bad thing when McCarthy was actually a hero. He was onto something. All of this world turned upside down by these professional liars.
What do you want
So,
the
yeah,
people
that's
at the
what's
rally
right.
to know about you? Because they may not have gotten to hear you speak then, but now they may see this interview. What do you want them to know?
What? Okay, so this is so important because this poor woman was emotionally beat up, right, by these terrible, ugly, hateful people at the Donald Trump rally.
I want them to know that they shouldn't be afraid of Muslims. That Muslims
Bullshit.
Muslims are not the problem.
No, actually, there is a bigger problem than the Muslims, and it's Dan Rather, Walter Cronkite, George Stephanopoulos, Cokie Roberts, Rachel Maddow, Chris Matthews, Diane Sawyer, Matt Lauer, Scott Pelley. All of those people are a much bigger problem. Because if we could get the major media organizations on the planet to tell the truth, then Muslims would run home in embarrassment. Some of them would, or at least that there would be defenses organized against the war that they've declared. So Muslims are a problem. but a bigger problem is the professional liars and the schools that are now completely corrupt, and actually the parents who send their children to those schools that are completely corrupt. Back to Rose.
People who rant.
They're ranting. See, that's a bit of an insult right there.
I guess extremist views on all fronts.
There's nothing extremist about Islam, right, Rose?
Are the ones who we need to be wary of.
We need to be wary of them. Extremist views, we need to be wary of them. It's not the moderate, peaceful Muslims who are attempting and actively succeeding in some places to conquer the world.
I'm hoping that people will learn more about what Islam really says. We've got more alike. There's more things alike in our faith traditions than there are different.
That's bullshit right there. And I'll elaborate a teeny bit in a second.
We worship the same God.
No, we don't worship the same God. They worship Allah, which is the moon god from Nimrod in ancient Babylon, 3000 BC. That's the God they worship.
We honor the same prophets. So
that's not true.
It's something that they should not be afraid of Muslims.
Okay. She's referring to some prophets in the Old Testament, but let's just talk about Jesus, who they call a prophet. You can't say that we honor the same prophet in the case of Jesus because they don't say that Jesus was the Son of God or that he was resurrected into life after the crucifixion. So we do not worship the same prophet either.
Especially Muslims living in America.
I mean, even if you don't believe in God or Jesus, it's easy to understand that this woman is wrong about her religion.
We're just trying to live the American dream, whatever that might be.
Bullshit. Sharia law is what it means, Rose, for you.
Do you support a candidate right now?
Watch this.
I'm still looking around. I'm still shopping.
What do you think about Donald Trump?
Shopping.
Would Donald Trump be among them, possibly?
No.
No. I'm sorry, but after I mean, he had some valid points. There's some things that I thought, he was on point with, but just his style, I think, would...
She doesn't like his style. I mean, here we are. Donald Trump entered this campaign and started getting shredded by the professional liars in the media in, middle or end of June, July, August, September, October, November, December, now nearly the middle of January, and she went to a rally, and when did she decide that he has a style that opposes her peace-loving ideas?
Not be a good place for America to be.
Yeah, not a Donald Trump. You certainly wouldn't want anybody to disrupt the direction we've been heading for the last 50 years, which is toward hell. And I don't mean spiritual hell, I mean toward hell as a country, and spiritual hell too.
Rose Hamid, thank you. We appreciate you coming on CNN. Have a great weekend.
Right now, Don, this is the time to bring in a different competing opinion. But...
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. End of clip. All right. So that's a lot more rambling than I expected to do. I always tell myself inaccurately that I'll make these things fairly short, and I expected that one to be 5 minutes. I'm looking at it right now. It's nearing 15 minutes, and I think there was 20-something on the other. I'll try and clip out the beginning of the other one. But it's important to do this shit, and I don't necessarily want to today, but I don't know, I'm motivated, so it's kind of fun too, but I'm busy doing 1,000 other things in life. Am I really 1,000? Not quite. I'm not being massively productive these days, but most importantly, I looked on and didn't see anybody else jumping on it. It doesn't mean that nobody else will. There could be some other people doing a great job on this hatchet job, doing great work on it, but I haven't seen them. I've just seen the one, and I'll watch that one before I edit this and upload it. If it's doing an excellent job and he's getting any kind of views, then maybe I'll just toss this out or something. But it could be that I did it in considerably more detail, and in that case, in a more important, or at least sideways important fashion. So, folks, the country is currently been conquered by the professional liars in the media and their demonic worker bees in the Democratic Party and the 80% of Republicans who go along with the Democrats. Completely conquered, and the schools where they lie to children, and the churches where they don't stand up for truth. or point out liars, and the people in the church who send their kids to the schools that lie to the kids. So we're a completely conquered country. That means, I don't know, in people's hearts they want truth back, though. They want to get this country back. That's why you're seeing this phenomenon. It's never happened in my lifetime. This phenomenon at the Trump rallies, crazy amount of enthusiasm and sizes of crowds, month after month after month. And my gosh, he's got so much energy. I haven't counted them, but I think he's going to 4 rallies a week. I probably would have trouble getting myself to go to 1 a month. Because why? Because I want to sit around and do my own thing. This guy's going 4, maybe 5 or more a week, and that's a lot of effort without teleprompters. And he's wrong. Donald, you're wrong. If you ever see this, which maybe not, but you're wrong when you say that, when you imply that Barack Obama needs teleprompter. He does not need a teleprompter. A lot of people didn't seem to catch this, and I may not be 100% right in it, but this is the feeling I got when it happened. Barack Obama was speaking without a teleprompter in the beginning of his campaign, and he did what happens with humans. He started sounding like the beliefs that are in his heart. And what are in his heart is that of either Muslim or atheist Marxism. That's the man's heart, and that's what he started sounding like, and he got caught sounding like that. And thanks to enough conservative information outlets around now, all of that got played back, and right around that point in the 2008 campaign, Barack Obama went on teleprompters. And I have a pretty high suspicion that it was because they were worried about how much he lapsed into being a thieving neo-communist, the way all Democrats are, and their godparents in the atheist elite media. Here you go, to Rose, to Don Lemon, to this lie that's out there trying to portray Donald Trump, the only candidate with a chance to rescue America, what's left of America, out there, and they're working their tails off to try to prevent him from getting in power and restoring some of the country to what it used to be and what it should be. That's it.